Now I request Srimati Supriya Suleji.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to stand here in support of this demand for grants. It's unfortunate that the cabinet minister unfortunately had to leave for the other house because he comes from my state and there are some problems which would have been actually pleasant, but I'm sure they'll take notes and share them with him. I would like to thank the Railway Mantralaya, which has been exceptionally helpful, especially in my state and my own constituency. I would definitely like to put it on record that in Indian Railways, the DRMs and the GMs, especially in Maharashtra, are exceptionally helpful to most of us. Most things don't get done, but they're clearly approachable, they're accessible, and they're available for us. So I'm grateful to the Mantralaya for being so kind, and this is one mode of transport I use a lot in Maharashtra. As a matter of fact, I see a change of a difference in the railways. Railways is a department of continuity. Whichever governments come and go, right from independence, railways is an infrastructure which India has had. It has had its challenges between up and down. So various prime ministers, various ministers, each one has contributed from their own bit, and that's why railway connectivity has been exceptionally good, especially I would say that in my state. So, but there are a few things I'd like to compliment them and a few suggestions of improvement what they can do. I clearly want to put it on record that in my constituency for Jezuri, Baramati and Neera, they have been exceptionally kind to me and very helpful. But there's one program called Adarsh Gram, which I remember when Suresh ji was the cabinet minister, not this Suresh Prabhu ji, was the minister. He had launched a program called Adarsha Stations, and 100 stations were picked up, and Neera from my Adarsha stations, modern stations. And no substantial amount of money over a period of time has come. So what is the status of this project? I don't want it to go like the smart city, because smart city, Pune was also taken as a smart city. But over the last 5 years, only about 250 crores has come, out of which 135 was given to consultants. So really not much has happened. So I don't want this to get lost, because it's a very important infrastructure. And I'm sure Sureshji's, the other Sureshji's, intention was very good, and I'm sure yours is also very good, because I share a border with this Sureshji. So we have a lot of issues with each other, but they're always amicably settled. So I would like to know what the status of the government status of, huh? We don't want Suresh Angriji. We want only Belgaum. Anyway, on a lighter note, the other thing is I must compliment them that the stations are definitely cleaner. So the entire railways is doing an exceptionally good work on keeping the railway stations cleaner, the trains cleaner. Of course, a lot more can be done because the toilets really need to be cleaned. But compared to before, I see, and I would like to put it on record, that as a traveler of what the railways, who uses a lot of Indian railways, it's a very, very much pleasant than what it used to be in the past. There are just few questions I would like to ask the Honorable Minister. Is that there is a sense of what I hear in the budget or read in documents, that privatization seems to be on the card. I am not against privatization. I do think, I am a socialist at one level, but I do understand that like in infrastructure, what we did in roads, but Indian railways, I mean, I would like to answer clearly that are you going to look at privatization or not? If yes, no, only in yes, no, not in maybes, because how are you going to run it? If you're going to sell it, who would buy it? How are you going to control the whole thing? Because you did, even in the budget, there was mention about it. So if you could kindly clarify, because it's a great asset. There's a huge number of people who work in Indian Railways. I think they are feeling a bit unnerved about it. You did it for Air India. Air India, as we are all aware, is people actually sending a chill in everybody's bags. And the same thing what you're doing for BPCL. So people are absolutely in a panic situation when it's coming to Air India. I don't see anybody buying. There was a lull suddenly in Air India. So where is Air India going? And looking at the way the aviation industry is right now, I mean, most airlines are bleeding. So I don't want railways to go the same way, because it's one of the largest people, which is the backbone of India's travel. The poor people use railways. So I just hope, even if you're looking at privatization, I think if you could clarify what the model is, so the suspicion goes out of people's mind and people feel far more safe and secure about it. The second thing, a new intervention they're starting is about lateral hiring. That has also come in several newspapers and reports. There are a lot of advisory boards which you're getting from outside. Is that really the right thing that people outside of authority are advising you? So that's lateral hiring that you're doing. So could you clarify who are these people, what are their interests, what are their backgrounds, and in what capacity are they guiding the government? Because it's become, it used to happen in Maharashtra when your government was there. There were a lot of people who are not IAS officers who were advising the government, and now that it's like a Pandora's box that we are opening, they were not even qualified for the job. And a lot of contracts now are getting questioned that why is this happening. So I think if you keep talking about a transparent government, I think this is the first intervention that if you could kindly clarify. The second is about budget. There used to be a separate railway budget. Now it's not the case. Your entire infrastructure planning of this government in the $5 or $10 trillion economy that you keep talking about, you're about 100 lakh crores of infrastructure. So how much money in exact amount will go into railways? It's very critical for you to tell that. Because whenever we demand anything to the railways, now we are told either take it from your state or MP funds. We even ask for a small bench. You will say, "Arey, MP fund de do." If MP fund we have to give to railways, if the states have to contribute when states are not getting their GST money, I mean, my own state needs about 15,000 crores which you haven't come. So all our social sector schemes are getting affected because of that. So and the way the economy is going, and not only my state, every state is complaining today, and they're completely out of budget. You see what the situation is, and the economy is in such shambles yearly, and now you have a valid excuse, which I'm sure you'll use, is about the coronavirus. So that's one more thing. So it's a very unfortunate situation that the country is in. So how are you going to develop these thousands of crores of numbers that you throw at us? Where is the money going to come from? The other pet project of this government is the bullet train. I don't know what the status is of the bullet train. Again, the center, no acquisition has happened in my state. People are completely against it. So can you clear-cut tell us what is your agenda of the bullet train? The other is Maharashtra local. That's why I was very keen that the Honorable Cabinet Minister would have been here, because he has grown up in the same city using the same trains that I've used in at least Mumbai suburban. Kalyan Dombivli, I think after we've raised it, you have looked at it and made an intervention. I raised it during a 0 hour in the last session, and the railways have been very kind. But it's not at the speed it really needs to be in. Millions of people use Mumbai suburban. Even today, 7 people die every day in Mumbai local trains. So if you could kindly address safety, there is improvement, yes there is. But a lot more needs to be done, especially when it comes to safety, security, and especially about women. You made a huge intervention for touting, but touting at no station even today has stopped. So I think especially for women, taxi, security, safety, there are cameras, but touting still happens. So if you could still strengthen it, because what happens at a station is if anybody tries to complain, it's between railway police and Maharashtra police. So there's always a conflict. If you go to the police station, they say railway mein jao, railway will say this is not. You'll be surprised, sir, to know that even a dead body sometimes takes over a week to be identified and given to the body because of this difference. So I think the local administration and the railway police need to work even more closer, especially in these kind of issues which are very sensitive and critical. Another point is about food and about these other stations. I think the food is also a challenge. There are people who take those trains every day. I think little more hygiene would definitely be of great help. These are the larger pictures, but I think Maharashtra, besides the bullet train money, if you have the money for bullet train, give it for our basic infrastructure. There are millions of people who use these who are really not going to. I mean, bullet train is not something we really need because of the connectivity that it has. It's only between, but the connectivity of the amount of money you'd put in one bullet train, if you give it to us, it will improve our entire states. So I think whether it's the chicken or the egg, I agree it's your dream project, but I think if you could kindly reconsider giving that funds for other things would be of great help to my state. In a short nutshell, I'd like to raise some issues regarding my constituency where you have been exceptionally helpful. But it's about Daund. Daund is a junction which is in Solapur division. I've raised this several times, but this change has not happened. It's much closer to Pune. So if you move it to Pune division, it will be of great help in manning the entire infrastructure. Daund is one of the stations which has a lot of railway land. And over the last 50 years, there's always been conflict of railway land vis-a-vis all the area where poor people are living. So whenever the railway decides that they want to empty the land, all these poor people who built homes, and it's over 50 years they've living there. So I think if you have a roadmap for it, these people won't have a hanging sword on their head. So I think something about, sorry? They need a rail map, absolutely. I think sir has given a very good, that you rail map. So if you could find out what your lands are, and there are some schools in it, there are public infrastructure, investments made on those lands which belong to you, and you really don't need them. So if this down land can be planned, and it may not be my own case, it must be in other students, others also. So there must be. Down also needs a EMU and a ME, the multiple electric multiple unit is something we've been demanding. Last minute, I'll just wrap it up. So if you could kindly look into all I would even say, I've written them on paper, so I won't take too much time of this. And another demand is, I appreciate that you stopped a lot of stations, but a lot of stops have been stopped completely. But I think there are some stations which I do understand the reason you have reduced the stops of the trains is to improve efficiency. But still there are some important stations who need, like Daund needs, Jezuri needs. It will only give you more funding, you'll earn more money because more people will use it as infrastructure who normally now take a car. And the last suggestion is you have completely stopped manning people, which is a very good effort, but then either they need a RUB there or a one below. So those bridges need to be planned, because if we ask for them, you again say state should pay or the MP fund. So it all comes back, because by stopping manning, I think you really need to relook. I do understand the budget has gone up by 10%, but it's not enough for the kind of, and for all the infrastructure that this government keeps talking about. I think our states are under pressure. You should be the guardian angel and a sugar daddy and indulge all the states, especially mine, for monies towards the railway. Thank you, sir.
Very nice. They put the suggestions and also the demand. As we travel, we know there is a right way and also there is a wrong way. But while discussing railway, you also come across there is in between there is a railway, which can go either way.